I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
Californication, Red Hot Chili Peppers. I think this is a CD that had that song. How long will I slide? So that's the only song I listened to on this record. But this is Californication. It's the title record by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. This should be interesting. For timely, topical, political commentary, you can hit us up at Middle America with Vin and Sori. Shout out to the big homie Tina. Long time no chat. Or is it long time no see, Bumblebee?
Sure. So there's a couple ways of getting your songs reacted to. One way, my personal favorite, is to jump on the $125 tier on Patreon and you can jump right to the top of the list. Or if you want to go with Vin's favorite way, that is you join an alliance. It's $1 a month on Patreon and you join up with a group of people that enjoy your type of music and you guys kind of work together to influence our song list.
Yeah. Shout out to James O. He did the PayPal route, so that means his song is going to get reviewed this week. Because if you do the PayPal route, it goes directly in instead of the other one.
James,
this is new.
Yeah, but he's been with us before, so I don't know. He might have been grandfathered in and didn't know it. We'll have to check into that. Anyway,
hey James, if you did 3 $75 requests before, then you are grandfathered in at the $75 rate.
Right.
So check on that, because if you did, we'll be able to refund you.
We'll work it out for you.
We'll be able to shoot you back some money.
Anyway, in the meantime, yeah, I think all three of these were his. Muffin Man.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So he's great.
So I'm gonna do it right now. Okay. So James, you're at the $75 rate, buddy. So you overpaid us, so we're gonna refund you.
Luckily, I recognized your name.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a good catch, babe. All right, so
that's because the
so we owe him $50.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway,
I'm glad I mentioned it.
Yeah. Anyway, so another way is if you just you can put the comment section, you can, check us out on Firesides when we do our live streams and say something there. There's so many different ways of getting your song reacted to. And this particular song, the way that this one landed on the list was somebody said, hey, this one has, X amount of views on it, so you guys should check it out. 679 million views. So I was like, okay, that's a big one. That could be something we could do on our channel. So that's a way. That was Andreas who helped us out with that. So that's kind of another way to kind of get your songs up there, is to say, hey, it has this many views.
So we're trying, guys.
Yeah.
We're trying to get you guys as much as you possibly can. If you do the Patreon thing, that's great. Keep in mind, though, I know those stimulus checks look great, and I can't tell you what to do with your money, but we should be at the very, very bottom of your list of priorities for spending your money. So, that's the worst sales pitch of all time, but there you are.
I know, we're giving money back at the beginning, saying that now.
Californication, let's go.
Oh, man.
Good
we're
Lord,
never going to make
Lord.
it out of this apartment.
Oh, stop it.
And go.
I can't hear anything.
I can't hear anything either. Oh, so we're going to actually be able to see the official video, because I kind of stuck it onto our little screen here, so we'll be able to comment on it with that.
Go ahead and hit rewind.
Yep.
And of course you do that, destroy my ears. I
Wonderful.
Hope you die.
Okay, ready? And go.
Video games?
Psychic spies from China try to steal your mind's elation. And little girls from Sweden dream of silver screen quotations. And if you want these kind of dreams, it's Californication. It's the edge of the world in all of Western civilization. The sun may rise in the east, at least it's settled in a final location. It's understood that Hollywood sells Californication. vacation. A teenage bride with a baby inside, getting high on information. And buy me a star on the boulevard, it's Californication. Space may be the final frontier, but it's made in a Hollywood basement. In Cobain, can you hear the sphere singing songs off station to station? And Alderon's not far away, it's Californication. Born and raised by those that praise control of population. Everybody's been there and I don't need no vacation. Firstborn unicorn, hardcore softcore. Dream of Californication. Dream of Californication. Dream of Californication. Dream of Californication. Destruction leads to a very rough road, but it also breeds creation. An earthquake's out to a girl's guitar, that's just another good vibration. And tidal waves couldn't save the world from Californication. Hey, I surgeon very well to break the spell of aging. Sicker than the rest, there is no test, but this is what you're craving. Firstborn unicorn, hardcore softcore. Dream of Californication. Dream of Californication. Dream of Californication. Dream of Californication.
They all went to hell?
Or what's left of California.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
California.
Somebody said that the reason that I added the video so that way we could actually see it while we were doing the review is because somebody said they always wish that somebody would come out with a video game like this. I can't believe nobody did.
1999? Well, I think, like, those were the graphics in 1999. They look dumb now compared to what we have now.
Mm-hmm.
20 years ago!
Yeah, but I think if somebody would have come out with a game for it that was like this, because
Really?
of the song, people would have played it.
Maybe. Grand Theft
I
Auto.
mean, maybe. Grand Theft Auto?
People were playing, yeah, it was. People were playing Grand Theft Auto and all that stuff. Nobody was trying to fly around on birds and stuff.
It
Back
was
in
a bee.
99.
It was a hornet or something.
Nobody wanted to do that in 99, 2000.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what the world wanted to do, but I guess Vin knows what everybody wanted.
Yeah, I do. They were playing Grand Theft Auto. That was a big game in 99. We were some gangsters in 99. What are you talking about?
Oh, Lord.
Can you imagine? Like, well, yeah, I'm not even asking. Our kids wouldn't even play that game now. Anyway.
Well, of course they wouldn't play it
This
now.
is a
They're
very-
not influenced by this music either.
This is a very, very deep song, man. This song is really deep. It's sad as hell, but it's pretty deep.
Okay, what, it's sad. I felt the sad, but I didn't catch the sad in the song.
He's singing a lot of deep stuff here. I don't really know what the psychic spies from China trying to steal your mind's elation I don't understand that. The song is about California and the make it or break it, the dreams dying, the frilly Hollywood glitz and glamour, and how it's not really like that and all that. So I don't really understand the China line. And especially considering our current seats in Laban, it's probably if you wrote it now, it would be very different. Little girls from Sweden, dreams of silver screen quotation, and if you want these kind of dreams, it's Californication. You know, it's like, you know, Swedish girls, you know, they've got the Nordic look, the blonde hair, blue eyes, and it's like, oh, you can make it big in Hollywood. But what he's saying is, well, yeah, but you're gonna have to, you know, if you think about this in the context of like Harvey Weinstein, about how this dude was like assaulting all these girls and like he was telling, and even like powerful, what we would consider A-list actresses had to, you know, didn't have to, but ended up in pretty compromising situations. Yeah. So imagine, you know, some girl who, you know, I don't want to say they're a dime a dozen, but I've showed you so many times about Hollywood how like these girls are supposedly beautiful and then you see them without makeup and they're just regular, you know, plain Jane. So like, I'm not really certain what the algorithm is for how you actually make it in Hollywood in the modern era. I think back in the day you had to be like naturally beautiful and things like that, because they didn't have the magic of the makeup and the.
How far back in the day? I mean, was Marilyn Monroe? Did you ever see her?
I think Marilyn Monroe was naturally beautiful.
I know. I've never saw her without makeup. I've always seen her with a bunch of makeup.
She was also a very like she was a full-figured woman. Like now she'd be a plus-size model, but back then she's a great example. Like today she would be told to lose like 50 pounds and stick her finger down her throat. You know what I mean? Like, so she. That's what I'm saying. It's like Elizabeth Taylor. You had like some people who were like naturally beautiful and they were closer to what an actual real woman looks like versus, you know, what you see now, which is all plastic, you know.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good point because, you know, by 1999, man, forget it. She, you know, like they're all
without makeup.
They're all a dime. I don't know. I've moved on. They're all a dime a dozen now. Like, so you got to have something else, and I'm not particularly certain what it is that gets you into Hollywood now.
Yeah, I disagree with you. I'm looking at these pictures of Marilyn Monroe, and I don't think that she's. I mean,
she's pretty to me. I think she's pretty. But besides that, it was her body. Her body was also very extremely, you know, feminine. But you know. So that's why he talks about in the pre-course, pay your surgeon very, very well to break the spell of aging. Yeah. You know, it's stuff like that where you had, I don't think you're going to have a Liz Taylor anymore, where Liz Taylor started out very young and beautiful and then she aged and the media was good to her when she was aging. It was like, oh, look, she's like this queen, princess type, now she's a queen and things like that. And she was really, you know, she was celebrated for her aging. Like,
oh really?
Yeah. She was celebrated, you know. But now, like it's not like that anymore. So
no, it's not.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not familiar with who this person is.
You're not familiar with Liz Taylor?
No.
Okay, we continue. You were the worst. You were the worst possible commercial for homeschooling of all time.
How would I have known?
Jamaican immigrant.
Besides school, like
me.
We didn't.
School.
I mean, well, why are you saying school? Like, how is that homeschooling thing? This is culture, and this is watching.
It's the whole stereotype of a homeschool person honestly, that's completely cut off from the world.
Well, we were, but it wasn't because of our homeschooling. Well, we were just as much cut off when we were in our private schools.
I believe in homeschooling. It's just that you're like the stereotype of why people say it's bad.
Well,
you know,
I don't put that on the homeschooling.
Well.
It was just the same way when I was in private school.
I'm not blaming the homeschooling. I'm saying you're a horrible commercial for homeschooling. Good Lord. But anyway, it's not like that anymore is my point. That's all I'm saying is like it's a very difficult thing for women, and I think you know all of that got uncovered in the last couple of years with the Harvey Weinstein stuff. But apparently if you were an insider, you already knew all this stuff. See, that's the other thing about the Weinstein thing, which is I forgot which comedian got up and blasted all those celebrities. He's like, all of you guys were working with Weinstein. Now you want to act like the guy was some monster like you guys didn't know. I think like they all kind of knew. But I'm not in it. I mean, as a guy with 2 daughters, you guys know how I am with men and trafficking and sex and all this. So I'm not making any excuses. At the same time, I just think it was kind of like a norm for these people, and they really didn't know. You know how like in certain cultures things are normal, like, you know, in American culture, you know, the gun culture, and then people from outside are like, oh my God, what are you guys doing? I just think it's like that in Hollywood and all that, like that quid pro quo that was happening and all that. I think those people normalized it. And finally, you know, the Me Too stuff came out, and then, you know, you had an entire avalanche of that stuff.
Yeah. That's pretty terrible, but yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. It's the edge of the world in all of Western civilization. That's interesting. Because, like, you know, California is like literally on the edge of America. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You get Texas, and then you got Cali. Mm-hmm. So it's like geographically at the end of America, which, you know, he's saying is it's kind of a double entendre, because it's kind of like when you see how corrupt, how glitzy it is on the outside, but how corrupt it is on the inside, and how few people make it, it's sort of a metaphor for America as a whole. I think a lot of people think that America, well, not so much now because we've got, you know, social media, so we're now connected to each other, and so I think that mythology is dispelled a little bit. But at least in '99, there was still this idea that, you know, America was a glitzy, you know, place to be, and then California was the glitziest place to be in America. So it's kind of the edge of the world and civilization or whatever. And
do you think when it says in all of Western civilization, do you think it's because Hollywood influences us all?
Yeah. I think it goes without speaking. Right now, America is the most influential country in the Western world, and among the Western world, California is the most influential state in the. Well, you could argue Madison Avenue, New York.
Yeah.
For sure, you could, and you could argue that.
But Hollywood has a.
For the purposes of this song, for sure, you could definitely say that with a lot of confidence. So, pay your surgeon very well to break the spell of aging. Celebrity skin, is this your chin, or is that the war you're waging? Yeah, man. This kind of reminds me a little bit of the Maynard song, the Learn to Swim one.
Oh, yeah.
You know, when he's talking about all these fake Hollywood people, yada, yada, yada. And I think musicians are, like, particularly qualified and simultaneously hypocritical in their criticism of Hollywood. Because on the one hand, they benefit from celebrity culture, but on the other hand, they got famous not because they were acting, but because they were expressing their true self. And it just so happened, for whatever reason, like I said, there isn't really a big algorithm. There's an algorithm to NSYNC and Backstreet Boys. You get 5 guys, da-da-da-da, they dance around, they're good looking, yada yada yada. Like there was an algorithm, but there is no real algorithm to how a Tool gets famous, or how a Slipknot gets famous, or how a Korn. There's no. It just kind of happens, and so there's more authenticity with a band like this or whatever. So they're qualified to criticize that whole culture.
Yeah. Plus, I would think that traveling all around doing shows in different places,
right?
You would meet different types of people, and they're kind of like because each. You know, different states kind of have their own culture. They kind of have their own thing. And so meeting people in different places, you might say, you know, that when we went to California, of course, we were only there for a week and a half. But it wasn't my experience that people felt very fake. But maybe it was where we were. We were hanging around with a metal crowd, so maybe that's why it didn't feel that way.
We were with our people.
Not the whole time.
So, I mean, when were we not with them? Like, you know, when we were not with Josh or Carmen or whatever, it was at night. We weren't really hanging out with anybody.
Yeah.
And it was a music thing, you know. So I didn't really get the whole. There was one time I had a trip and I had to stop in LAX and then go somewhere else, and that was a pretty crazy. Every third person had plastic surgery and all the rest. Plastic surgery is a very. I remember because he's talking about, you know,
celebrity
is this
skin.
your chin?
Yeah.
I get surprised. I get surprised when, you know, like Cardi B, or even what's that girl from Young Turks, Anna. She did something to her nose, or I'm still surprised to this day. You know, I remember watching. It's mind-boggling to me that people do that. And especially now, it's like, why do you need to be, you know, I mean, I can't comment on Anna. Why is she, you know, it's like you're delivering the news. Like, what do you know, but maybe it's her own personal decision. But I remember watching this Twilight Zone episode, and it basically, the person wanted one thing changed, another thing changed, and then they're like, this doctor was like, we'll give you the best one of all time, and then the person was just a complete freak at the end of it. They're completely crazy.
Well, that reminds me of that black girl. In my mind, her name is Kimmy, but what's her name? Little Kim?
Right, Little Kim. Yeah, good example.
And that to me was tragic.
Yeah.
Just absolutely tragic.
Really, really sad. And the thing about Little Kim was...
she was so pretty to begin with.
Well, I mean, she was okay. I mean, she's a girl you'd see around the way. But the thing about her was she had successfully made herself a sex symbol in her natural self, just because of her personality and all the rest of it. There were dudes were like, little, you know, but it wasn't enough for her. You know what I mean? She did the augmentation, and then, you know, you did the breast augmentation. It's like, okay. You know, I wasn't really, you know, but, you know, like, but then she went completely crazy with it. You know, she got this Asian, bleached white Asian look, da-da-da-da-da. And, yeah, I think that's a good example, because I was like, all the dudes
her face looks all...
It's all jacked up now. It's like, you were fine. Like, what happened? So, like, it's almost this weird thing where it's like, are these people getting plastic surgery? Because the idea is, well, this is what people want to see. But then the people, common people who are looking at that go, oh, whoa, that's a standard of beauty, so I want to look like them. So now you're like, the celebrities are doing it because it's supposedly what the common people want to see. But then when the common people see it, they're like, oh, I want to look like that celebrity. So it's like this crazy cycle of, you know, whatever. So now that when these people get some money, that's what they do. Cardi B did it, you know, what's her name? Kasparian did it. You know, like, it's a very strange cycle. It's a strange cycle to me. And it's like, well, you know, like, who really wants that, really?
What I wonder is, like, I remember when I used to go to the tanning booth all the time, and like, I saw a picture of myself. I wish that I had the picture, I'd put it in this video. But I was literally almost your color, but kind of orangey. Like, it looked so horrible, and I thought it looked good, and I thought that I wasn't dark enough. So I wonder if that kind of dysphoria thing happens for people that are doing that. Like, because to me, whenever I see that little Kim girl, to me, she's kind of scary looking.
100%.
And she, to me, is like,
100%. This
is why you should never do something like that.
I think you're right.
But I don't know if she thinks that she looks good.
I have to look at the DSM-5 or maybe the DSM-6 to see if that's a new category of dysphoria. You know, maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but...
I feel like all the people that, you know, have the facelifts and stuff, they have that kind of like stretched out sort of weird alien.
I don't want to judge like their moral character. That's not where I'm going. That's not where you're going.
Judging their moral character. I'm saying I don't understand why people are doing it when it doesn't. Because you're saying the Hollywood people are doing it, and then regular people are looking at it and saying that's what we need to do. I don't understand how that's happening.
I think it's happening in Hollywood because the directors are saying, look, this is what people want to see. So then you're convincing these people that you need to look like this because this is what you want to. Well, you have options, sweetheart. Like, your entire life wasn't based around I need to do this, and these people's entire value system is based on this stuff. Yeah. So it's their their whole life. Like, they're willing to, you know. So I do think it's a sort of a collective mental illness that all of us have succumbed to. That. And you see it really in extreme measures where girls are trying to compare themselves to the people in the magazine, and so they start, you know, bulimia, and, you know, what's her name? I forgot. Alicia Keys. Like, she's got this, like, no makeup challenge or whatever that she's been doing for years and years. So there's a couple of them every now and then. And I think Alicia Keys is great without makeup. But I just think it's like, you know, that's California. Huh?
That name is familiar to me.
California has metastasized into this strange thing. If you want to make it, you know what I mean. Like, if you're trying to make it in California, then you know, and then you got the firstborn unicorn, hardcore soft porn. That's some pretty interesting. So there is this girl that she was like, I don't know, this Playboy or Hustler or whatever, and then her husband killed her. It's a book. about that. Firstborn Unicorn is what, and then so it goes to hardcore soft porn, which goes again to the whole Harvey Weinstein idea, which is if you want to make it in that culture, then you have to take part in, you know, certain types of things. There was a guy, because I did a debate one time about you know, sex work and sex trafficking and stuff. You can see it on Middle America. And there was so much information that when you're doing debates, you have to decide what to use and what not to use. But there was a guy who got these girls to, you know, do all kind of crazy things on camera. And the whole sales pitch was, you'll be an actress or whatever. So he's on video saying, oh, you know, this person and this person had to do this and this person and this person. And it was true. And the ironic thing was it was all the Harvey Weinstein stuff. And so he got these girls to do this stuff on camera. It was like, and obviously he wasn't connected at all. They sued him and they lost because, you know, he didn't sign an actual contract with them or some craziness like that. Obviously that didn't make it to the debate because, you know, the guy got off and, you know, whatever. But yeah, it was a real like insight into that industry and then its relationship to Hollywood and then the pressure that these girls are, you know, put under. Of course, that guy was able to say, hey, they did it all voluntarily. Nobody forced them. Oh, yep, there it is. It's that consent nonsense again. That's the bar. That's our bar of morality is just consent. Nothing other than that. Marry me, girl. Be my fairy to the world. Be my very own constellation.
I thought that was cute.
A teenage bride.
Maybe it meant something horrible, but
yeah.
Keep sounding.
Buy me a star on the boulevard. It's Californication. Space may be the. I laughed at this one because.
Yeah, why?
Well, that's a conspiracy theory. Is that.
I didn't hear all of it.
We didn't land. We didn't land on the moon.
Yeah.
It was shot in Hollywood. How like out of 10, how much do you really believe that the whole thing is a what do you call it?
Out of 1 to 10?
Yeah.
9, I don't believe we went.
La. Okay. You know the funny thing to me about this whole the moon landing thing is on the one hand I'm like, that's ridiculous, sorry. And the other hand I'm like, I cannot prove that we landed on the moon. I can't do it. Nobody can. We can't prove that. This is one of those things where I'm just taking this by faith.
Yeah.
This is a complete faith
For me,
thing.
the things that stuck out to me was their interviews when they got back.
It was a little weird.
They were very strange interviews.
Yeah, but if you had just gone to the moon, that would be weird. You think you'd just be normal and well-adjusted? Maybe there's some new thing that happens neurologically when you get out of the atmosphere.
The other thing
we don't know.
They lost the ways to be able to play those tapes again, which is extremely build another thing. Like why this is footage of us going to the moon. Why can you not play that again?
Yeah.
It's just to me sounds like they did that so that way it can't be looked into.
No, I understand what you're saying. I mean, I still believe it, but
and then like,
it's a complete faith thing. I just have faith in those people that.
And I don't because we were trying to rush and get there before the Russians.
Yeah, we definitely had motive. We definitely had motive.
We haven't been the most honest in a lot of situations. So
that is true. That is very true. Nobody. This is this.
And I feel bad for if they really did go. The people that really went, I feel bad that,
Well, I feel there was like one thing where Buzz Aldrin supposedly slipped up and said, whatever. I hear. I mean, me personally, if I actually went to the moon and there were people that believed that I didn't, I wouldn't care. I'd be like, I went to the moon. Like, who cares what you think?
Yeah, it would bother me, and it like to me kind of goes into the box of, when there's like some sort of major event that happens and people are like, oh, that shooting didn't happen. Like that's a major thing if we actually went to the moon. And for somebody to be cooped up on that thing for all that time, like, oh, I would hate that.
Yeah. No, this goes into another discussion about epistemology. How do you know what you know, blah, blah, blah. But this is an example of things where people really believe that they don't take things by faith. I just do by evidence.
Yeah.
The moon landing is a complete faith thing. I'm sorry.
Yep.
Although, I don't know, Trump is saying we're going to put a woman on the moon in his next thingy, so maybe that'll... You know what'll be funny is like, if Trump does put a woman on the moon, the people will find a way to say that that was a fake moon landing. Okay. Born and raised by those who praise control of population. That's a good line. Because, you know, the older generation is talking about population control and all the rest of it. And it's like, well, how do you have kids to raise if you really believe in population control? You know, if you've got this Malthusian view of the world, which of course Bernie Sanders did, and I called him out for it, and then my buddy Tasco got all angry at me. He was so emotional that he didn't even hear about, you know, Bernie's evil Malthusian thingamajiggy. He called me up on a fireside, and I had to replay the video for the big. Shout out to the big homie. But yeah, the population control thing was pretty crazy.
What does he sound like? Does he sound at all like Steve De Herrera?
No, Tasco's from New Zealand. He sounds like Dan.
Oh, okay. I always put him to sound like Steve.
Yeah. I mean, we got along great after the call, but that's when he called me the single most frustrating individual. He accused me of putting words in Bernie Sanders' mouth. I was a Maine Bernie Sanders guy, man.
Oh, boy.
So all those people would say, you freaking liberal! You liberals!
Have you seen that meme going around of, like, the person looking out their window like that, and they're like, me watching my neighbors take down their Bernie signs? I'm like, how can you be so happy about that? He was Medicare for all.
Yeah. We're all gonna die now, and we're gonna put the country in the hands of Joe. You guys already know how I feel about that, but yeah, the population control stuff. Of course, the best line I ever heard from, you know, was Jordan Peterson, where he was talking about. He was actually talking about Cain and Abel, and then it somehow diverted into population control, and he was pretty angry about it. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a proper, you know, human life has become so cheapened now that it's almost been villainized. And it went from all life is precious to some life is precious to my life is precious, so we got to eliminate millions of people so that I can have the optimal space on the planet.
I don't think that's funny, but when you say population instead of population, you forget that you don't do the U. It's always interesting to me.
It's a protest.
What do you mean?
That's why I always say, anytime somebody brings up population control, I always say, you start, go ahead. And then they get upset. Well, why are you upset? You're doing it for the good of the collective. Why is it okay to talk about killing whole swaths of other people, but when we say it should happen to you, you get upset? Why is that?
That's why you leave the U out of it?
No, I'm trying to make an actual serious point. But, you know, like, that's a serious thing. Like, he's talking about the hypocrisy there. Born and raised by those who praise control of population. Mm-hmm. How did you have kids to raise if you really believe in this Malthusian bullshit?
Well, no, let the other people.
Right. Right. And like some of the, like when I heard about China's one-child policy, I was like, man, this is evil as hell. I thought everybody would. Then I ran into a bunch of people that were like, oh no, they were right. I'm like, wow. But I mean, if you really believe that stuff, then how could you say that? How can you say they're wrong? How can you say they're wrong?
I can't imagine just one kid. It's so cute when they play together.
Yeah, you get these horrific stories, these forced abortions with these people over there in China, which, yeah, I mean, these.
Oh, they do forced abortion? That's how they take care. I figured they put them on like birth control.
I was reading some pretty horrible. I mean, China's a very extreme. I mean, these guys are killing people and selling their organs and stuff. I mean, we would never do that in America. We would never dispense with a bunch of people and sell their organs.
Planned Parenthood.
Anyway. And then get the guy locked up who exposed it. We would never do that.
Is he still in jail?
Nah, it's a back and forth thing. But anyway, so there you go. California, this is a really, I could go on this song for a long time. Like, he's saying a lot here. He's saying a ton.
I love the sound of his voice and the way that it kind of goes musically. It kind of like sways and I don't know, it's smooth. Yeah.
Oh, look at that. Tidal waves can save the world from Californication. That's the whole learn to swim thing. Maybe that's, what year did that come out? Anima by Tool. When did that come? Learn to swim. Anima by Tool came out in 1996. Yeah, 1996. So yeah, he had time to think about it. Maybe that was a little subliminal to Tool that was saying even if a tidal wave swept away California, it wouldn't matter. We'd go right back to it.
Jeez.
And he's probably right. It's something in human beings, man, that we want. We want the shiny stuff, the glitz and the glamour. But
it's a 9.8 for me.
It's 9.5. Good song. Said a lot.
There you have it.
Shout out to the big homies. Vin out.
Sori out.
Gone.
And if you want these kind of dreams, it's Californication. It's the edge of the world in all of Western civilization. The sun may rise in the east, at least it's settled in a final location. It's understood that Hollywood sells Californication. Break the spell of aging. Celebrity skin, is this your chin or is that war you're waging? Firstborn unicorn, hardcore, softcore. Dream of Californication. Dream of Californication. Very own Constellation. A teenage bride with a baby inside, getting high on information. And buy me a star